Hello everyone, what we're going to be doing today is National 5 Factorising, difference of two squares. This is one of the types of factorising that you'll come across in National 5. So we're just going to get stuck in. The conditions for using difference of two squares are the following. So basically when you're looking at an expression like this, both terms are squared, and then in between the two terms, so the two terms are x squared and y squared, and between those two terms there's a minus sign, because minus obviously is another way of saying difference. Okay, so we're going to now look at how we would do this example. So if I'm coming across this and I'm wanting to say, okay, can I do difference of two squares or not? Well, I'd actually, when I'm learning this, start by writing off, okay, do I have two square terms? Right, so yeah, we do have two square terms. I'm going to tick that. And then I'm also going to say, okay, is there a minus sign? Well, actually, yeah, there is a minus sign, so I can tick that. Because both of these conditions are met, we can use difference of two squares. So what's the process when we're using difference of two squares? Well, first of all, we're going to check that there is a common factor, see if there is one or not. Now, in this example here, x squared minus y squared, there is not a common factor. So what I'm going to do next is introduce two sets of brackets. Every difference of two squares question, excluding the fact that there may be a common factor, is just made up of two brackets. First thing we're going to do is square root this first term and put it in the first position of the bracket, okay? So the square root of x squared is just x. I'm going to put that in the first position of both the brackets. I'm going to repeat this for the second term, obviously putting the solution into the last position in the bracket. So the square root of y squared is y. We have 1 plus and we have 1 minus. Now, don't worry about the order. It doesn't matter. You can put the minus in the first bracket if you want and the plus in another one. Just as long as there's 1 plus and 1 minus, then that is how we do difference of two squares. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get stuck in with some examples for you today. And the first one is x squared minus 25. I'm actually going to add a little bit more into this. Is there a common factor? There is no common factor. So there's a step that we don't need to consider. So that's quite good. Are there two square terms? Yes, we do have two square terms. Do I have a minus sign between them? Yes, I do. So therefore, with these two conditions, we can use D2S. So we're going to open two brackets. And we're going to put the square root of x squared into the first position. So the square root of x squared is just x. Now we're going to do the square root of 25. Now that is 5. We're going to put that in the second position in each bracket. We have 1 plus and 1 minus. Doesn't matter what order they're in. So I'll just put the plus in and the minus in. And that is this question completed. We're now going to look at example 2. Is there a common factor? No common factor. Good. A step we don't need to worry about. Are there two square terms? Well, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. So 36, that is made up of 6 squared. So therefore 36 is a square term. It's a square number. X squared is clearly squared. 49 is made up of 7 squared. So 49 is indeed a square number. And we have y squared, which is also a square term. So we have two square terms. And do we have a minus sign? We do have a minus sign. So we have, with these two conditions here met, difference of two squares. I'm going to open my brackets. So first position, we're going to square root the 36, which is 6. We're going to square root the x squared, which is x. That's in first position. We're going to square root the 49, which is 7, and we'll put the y in. We have 1 plus and we have 1 minus. Doesn't matter what order. Okay, next question. Do we have a common factor? We do have a common factor. So we're going to have to sort that common factor out first. So we're going to do the working for that here. 64 and 36. Let's get all the factor pairs for this. I've got 1 and 64, 2 and 32. 3, is 3 going to go into here? No, it's not. 4 and 16. 5 is not going to go into there. 6 is not going to go into there. 7 is not. And we have 8. We're going to repeat the process for 36. 1 and 36, 2. And we have 18, 3, 12, 4, 9, and we have 6. Now that shows that they're both square terms, so that's quite good. We know the numbers are at least square. Let's find the highest common factor for this. I'm going to go to the biggest number and cut out until we get a common factor. 64 does not appear in both sets. 32 does not appear in both sets, nor does 16 or 8. 4 does. So therefore 4 is our highest common factor. So we're going to take 4 out. What's going inside the bracket? Well, the partner to 4 is 16, so it's going to be 16a squared plus 9b squared. Okay, now we're going to see if we can do difference of two squares in here, okay? Oops. So we have two square terms, yes, but we do not have a minus sign. Therefore, there is no d2s, and this is the final answer, your 4 bracket 16a squared plus 9b squared. Got another example. Is there a common factor here? There is a common factor here. That common factor is 3. And then we have 9 minus x squared. Can I do difference of two squares on the bracket? Do I have two square terms? I do have two square terms. 9 is a square number. And do I have a minus sign? I do have a minus sign. So therefore, we can do d2s in that bracket. Now, the common factor just stays. The common factor doesn't disappear. It stays. And what we're going to do is open our brackets. And we're going to do square root of 9, which is 3. Square root of x squared, which is x. We're going to have a plus and a minus. And that is the final solution in that question. And here's a tricky one that you might find in an exam. X to the power of 4 minus 1. Now, we have no common factor here. Do we have two square terms? Well, we do. Let's have a look at that x to the power of 4 in a little bit more detail. X to the power of 4 is made up of x times x times x times x. Now, if I'm to gather these together, then what I get is x squared times by x squared. So therefore, x to the power of 4 is indeed a square term. So that's good. Is there a minus sign? There is a minus sign. So we are going to do d2s. So the square root of x to the power of 4, we've just found out here, is x squared. So I get x squared as our first position, and we have 1 as our second. Can we do difference of two squares in any of these brackets? Because I'm seeing a squared term, so I just need to make sure that I can't repeat this process. Well, in actual fact, this has two square terms and a minus sign. So in actual fact, we can repeat d2s again. So, like we said, this bracket doesn't change, it's still here. But what we can do, this. So we're going to do the square root of x squared, which is x, square root of 1, which is 1, 1 plus, 1 minus, and that is the final answer to this question. Hope that's been useful for you. Please like, share, and subscribe the channel, and thank you very much.